you, your spouse, have been considering taking this trip on Route 66 and talking about it for a while, we encourage you to do it. Put a date on a calendar and get it done. That's what we did. We just basically said, we're leaving Labor Day. So we left. We just put a date down and made it happen. We really encourage you to do it. It is something that will never leave you once you do it. I guess another thing that I wanted to say was, if you have the time, interstates are nice if you're in a hurry, but if you have the time, get off the interstate. Take the original route. That's what we tried to do. Our goal was to go to the Grand Canyon from the northern part of Illinois all the way to the Grand Canyon, but we wanted to do the old original as much as we could, the old original Route 66. Sometimes we were forced to be on the interstate for a ways, just how the highway and the 66 went, but we still got off the interstate and took the old single highways. Much of it was 45 mile an hour, 50 mile an hour, but what you see and what we're going to show you, little things on this, a lot of this you would never see unless you were there. Lastly, we have no regrets of taking a classic car. We did not have air conditioning. We didn't have overdrive. We couldn't hit the road and do 85 mile an hour. But we have no regrets of taking our 77 Dodge Ram Charger. It gave the old historic Mother Road, Route 66, kind of like that experience being in that classic car. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I really liked it that way. I mean, it just felt more nostalgic, and it was so much more enjoyable that way.
For sure. For sure. Our first state that we entered after leaving Illinois was Missouri. Pretty much through most of Missouri, we were able to stay on the old original Route 66. And Missouri did a wonderful job marking the trail, the way, the old bridges being left alone, some of the stations deteriorating, others fixed up like this one here. And Missouri just did a fantastic job. Getting close to entering Kansas, and this is the owner. This is George.
Jump up and down. Yay! I'm going to give you all
this is his place.
That's a small thank you gift for visiting.
That, and we're going to go inside his garage and see what he's got.
Yeah, it's cool.
And we did just that. We walked in that garage. Real open guy that just allowed us to look around, and super nice, and did a great job. And we're just going to have to mention these Corvair Owners. We just saw the big red 66 on the side of their barn type shed and just asked if we could take a picture of it because we thought it was cool. They happened to be out in the yard, and sure, go ahead, and you got to see what's inside. And they took us inside and showed us their Corvair collection, and fantastic collection of cars and stuff that they had. And unplanned, didn't know them, first time meeting them. We ended up at their place for an hour or more, just chatting and talking like old time friends. That's why I say you got to get off the interstate and take the back roads. You just never know. The next state we entered was Kansas. It's just a short little jaunt, the old 66 into Kansas, only about 12 miles before you hit Oklahoma. But Galena, Kansas, I'm going to tell you, they did a really good job promoting Route 66. Oklahoma was next. Oklahoma offered some entertainment along the old original Route 66, and we spent the night at an old hotel and motel, and we stopped at just outside of Oklahoma City, this gas station called Pop's that had about every kind of pop you would want inside of it, and it was obviously different. I mean, they offered everything from Billy the Kid to hippo-sized pop to whatever your heart content would be desired. It was pretty much there. And then it took us, around Oklahoma City. We had to go there as we headed toward Amarillo, and away we went. And Elk City was a fun little town. It had a nice museum in it, and And we went through that museum and we enjoyed that. Elk City, Oklahoma.
You know what they say, don't mess with Texas.
We stopped at the Big Texan Steak Ranch in Amarillo, Texas. I didn't do the 72-ounce steak challenge there, but I sure enjoyed a nice juicy 21-ounce steak. And there's a lot to see in Texas along Route 66, but one thing of note is this very large cross, and it had all the statues, life-size statues of the hours of the cross and the Last Supper, and it was just kind of different and unique, and certainly worth the stop to look at. And they put a lot of work and effort into that. And there's Pilate washing his hands, and of course the empty tomb, and quite unique. And then that takes us to Adrian, Texas. This is the midway point of Route 66. You're 1,139 miles to Chicago, 1,139 miles to Los Angeles. It's just a small little town and a little emptiness there on the street on the old original Route 66, but it is certainly worth the stop, and you'll want to pencil that in if you're passing by that way. And here's the midway point on Route 66. It is halfway from Chicago to Los Angeles, but we are over the halfway point because we're not going to California. Yeah, going across the halfway point. Yeah. And we made it through Texas without messing with any Texans. Next up was the Land of Enchantment, New Mexico. And boy, does New Mexico up there have just some gorgeous, gorgeous landscaping. And Tucumcari, we spent the night in Tucumcari at a campground, but it didn't stop us from driving through the town and seeing all the neon lights and the Blue Swallow, the famous hotel. And it's just an amazing experience going through there on the old original Route 66. And man, it was just sure a lot of fun. Tucumcari was. And then we, of course, hit the highway the next day, continuing on through New Mexico. And we actually broke off at Santa Rosa and went up the old original Santa Fe Trail and came down Interstate 25 into Albuquerque. And we just found New Mexico just stunningly beautiful. Next up is Arizona. It's going to show you we're in Arizona. Nothing but sand and sagebrush where we are. We're in the desert. Yeehaw! We also found Arizona just gorgeous state. It had everything from mountains to deserts, and we stopped at one ghost town, Two Guns, Arizona, and that name is fitting. There was a lot of bloodshed in this town and its history. You have to look it up if you want to know all the details, but we sure enjoyed stopping here.
It's a town, or if you want to call it a town, it's deserted. Arizona, see that? Woohoo! That's my feet. Da, 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 da. I'm going up. There's a peek hole. Let's get through the hole. Ooh, look there. There's another. What, wrong way. See that? Look at a tin roof. Pretty cool. So many meals. Come on up.
Another thing we found to do in the Arizona desert was visit this huge meteor crater. Meteor crater? It's a mile across there and it's 550 deep. 550 feet deep. And we're in the middle of the desert. However,
when you go all the way around, you probably can't see them in this clip. I don't know if you can or not, but there's the mountains in the back, and that's where we're headed. Whole mountain range over there. So we'll see, but this is the desert we've been crossing. Nothing but sand and sage, and we found a meteorite crater to go visit.
Flagstaff was sure interesting, different, but I'll say this, the people of Flagstaff were sure nice and friendly.
All right, my name is Buck Williams from Williams, Arizona. In 2008, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, I'm the 5th fastest single-shot cowboy in the world and 7th in the world for speed and accuracy with a bullwhip.
Williams, Arizona was a nice little spot on Route 66 to visit, but it was the gateway to the Grand Canyon for us. And the Grand Canyon, pictures do it no justice. You have to stand there and see it in person, walk down into it, and experience it in real life. Nothing else, and I mean nothing else, will take the place of that feeling when you're there for the first time and seeing it. And we actually went down into Sedona from the Grand Canyon and went down to the Red Rocks and looked at it all. And it's just such beautiful territory and land. And this was the last of our stay before we ventured off back home, up through Kansas, Dodge City, and into Nebraska. But Route 66 is a must. We sure thank you for joining us and watching us. It was a wonderful time. We'll always remember it.